we start with our performance from Miss Zenobia Dyson, who is being joined by her son. So, whenever you're ready, I will move over that direction. You can come over here. So.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Before we begin to take this dive back into history, I would like for you to engage with me in a clapping celebration. So I'm going to show you, and then we're going to do it, and then I'm going to show you again to make sure you got it. And then after I say each line, I want you to do that clapping celebration. You got it? Okay. So it goes like this. West Africa, can you hear it? Can you hear the sounds of the beating drums? Can you hear the sounds of laughter and joy? Can you hear the sound of the voices of the people? Can you see the beautiful garments and jewelry hanging off their skin? Can you see the kings and queens and the generation of royalty? Oh, I ask you to listen and see. Change the lens. The beating of the drums turned into the cracking of the whips. The laughter and joy turned into torment and pain. The voices of the free people cloaked in a veil of silence and compliance. Clothing ripped from their body and jewelry stolen for gain. Their royalty replaced by the seller's block. Can you hear or even see the illegal crimes committed? Can you hear the chains clacking or the creaks in the shipwrecks? Listen to the raging water clash against the wooden cell walls. Can you hear the cries? Traumatic rattling of the chains, chained together, iron shackles locked on a post and fashioned around their ankles, shackled to death. The cries and the tears throughout the 6-week journey forced fear, a recycled product, taking us away from our original state into their own. Beaten, raped, and placed on the shelf to be sold to the highest bidder. See the mental reconditioning, the torture, and the confusion. Freedom deprived. Loss of family. Loss of security. Loss of their own humanity. What are we now? It's okay. It's okay. It's okay to say it. Go right on ahead and say it. Slaves. Slavery was not And it's not a physical manifestation. Slavery is also mental. In order to achieve mental slavery, an act of mental bondage and brainwashing had to take place. People enslaved in West Africa became the most valuable commodity for European traders. The people of West Africa were a nation mighty and one to be feared like the kingdom of Dahomey. But corruption creeped in and sailed to a new place. Seized, purchased, chained, and marched to the boats. Can you hear it? Forced marching to abuse. Forced marching to wretched conditions. Forced marching to separation. Forced marching to Europe inland homes to be held for sale to the European traders. Forced marching to work without compensation. Forced marching to Europeans' economic prosperity. 86 by 23 was the monster that carried us within the bowels. In even smaller confined places of darkness. To give light to someone else's profit. Forced food to keep the stock ready. Tortured until we ate while stewing in our own mess. Used the sharks as a terror weapon to avoid suicide attempts. Confess! I said confess! The last known wave in the water was a slave ship. To reach the shores in Alabama within these United States. When the Africans arrived, they were forced off the ship. Remember, they were forced to march on, and now they're being forced to march off. And made them hide in the swamp lands tucked away by the criminals. The schooner was burned and scuttled to destroy evidence of the voyage, concealed evidence of the people, buried their heritage, covered the evidence of the abuse, and so many other heinous, monstrous crime acts committed against humanity. What is the reality of the wages of this bet? Death could have been the penalty for Mayer and all of those others, lawbreakers and offenders who supported this act. Death is a song that could have been sung by their prisoners, yet the sound of freedom still echoes in their spirit. Only 10 feet deep, but the truth shall rise. Can you see? Humiliated, separated, scattered across the land like leaves falling from a tree, never to be seen or heard from again. Yet the song still sings in our hearts. I am so lost, and I search within me. A search to find our history. A search to find our cultural identity. A search for our justice. A search to find our voice. Because we're being stripped of our name, of our language, of our culture, of our customs, even our history. A time of restoration shall come, and it comes. To reclaim our memory, to reclaim an identity, to reclaim a culture I feel a deep sense of loss. I feel so incomplete to treat humans like human cargo, taken against our will, unheard and unseen. Can you see? Can you see? I remember the storytelling from our ancestors. I remember the letters. I remember their clothes. I remember in my heart every aspect of my being. So I reclaim, I unify, and restore us as a family again. The water tides provide the answer. And every deep dive into the dark waters, a piece of us comes up. The nails from the broken wood ship, a piece of the wreckage that tried to wreck us as a people. You cannot bury the truth. The remnant is still there. Enslaved people found a way to retain their families, cultures, customs, dignity, which their heart, mind, and memories are still there. The one place that could not be stripped away. Can you hear me? Mama, can you hear me? Daddy, can you hear me? Can you hear me calling from the furthest reaches and the depths of my soul? Can you hear me? Some things can never be taken away. We are people that birthed out many nations. The origin of us as a people are great. We cannot be erased like a pencil on a sketch pad. In fact, that pad and that pencil was created by us. We are surviving regardless of the so-called diet that you so kindly provided for us. Look around you, and as far as your eye can see, you will find our footprint in it all. See, my water doesn't have to rage because water populates most of the planet of Earth. I want you to hear my rebirth. Do you hear me? No. Do you hear me? You can talk back to me. Do you hear me? Yes! Now listen. You can hear the beating of the drums playing again. You can hear the laughter in Africatown. You can hear the joy and rejuvenation in my voice. You can feel the blood flowing through my veins. It's that bloodline on the front line. What was taken is now being restored. That's my skin folk. That's my kinfolk. I am a king. Queen still sitting on the throne. Can you hear me? We pour from the cup of libation. Clap your hands. We pour from the cup with me. Will you rise up with me in power? Will you sing with me? Will you dance with me? Will you remember I'm not buried anymore. Yet I have risen and I'm alive and well. Can you feel and can you hear the spirits of our ancestors? Thank you.
For this over here.